I'm live. Oh shit. I'm like looking at my screen and I'm like, I guess I already went live. Hi guys. Well, that was an interesting start. So first things first, welcome back to Fit Body Secrets, where my mission is to bring you guys motivation, inspiration, and a ton of tips to help you guys on your fitness journey. And y'all can laugh at me now because I didn't even realize that I was live. And I'm like, what's going on? It says 42 seconds in. And if you guys are listening live, can you just tell me that you can hear me okay? Because I'm experimenting with using a microphone today, and I don't know how the sound quality is going to be. So I want you to let me know if it sounds good, bad, meh. And I'll obviously be able to listen to it after I record it. I probably should have recorded this one. Okay, good, Megan. So thanks for letting me know. Because I do want to see if it will improve my sound quality a little bit. This is actually a gift that I had from a client of mine, and I've had it for like a year and a half and haven't actually used it yet because I'm going to be honest, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. But if it does sound better, I might keep using it. Again, this is being recorded live, so I won't be able to listen to it until after the fact. And I don't know about you. Can any of you guys relate to like hating hearing yourself talk? I just hate listening to myself talk. And I know I obviously put out a lot of content, so you would think I'm used to it by now, but I hate hearing my voice. I hate hearing myself talk. I feel like I am a Floridian in a New Yorker's brain because my words come out so quickly. But anyways, so welcome to the episode. A little bit of an interesting intro as I had stumbled on my words because I didn't realize I was live, and I'm using a new microphone, so it is what it is. Guys, today's episode is real guys. It's really for the ladies today because I know that guys, I'm going to be honest, y'all, guys get super hyper focused on the scale too. So it's not just a woman thing. I mean, I have a client right now, like every single day, he's like, I'm up 2 pounds, I'm down 2 pounds, I'm up 2. It's like, dude, you got to realize your weight's staying the same. But when it comes to our hormones, the scale can really like play a huge, it just, when it comes to the scale, the hormones can really affect it. And that can really play a huge factor into how you show up in your day. And how many of you guys can relate to you step on the scale one morning and you just started a nutrition plan and it's down 2 pounds and you're like, woohoo, I'm so excited. And then, 2 days later, you step on the scale and you're like, why is it up 2 pounds? What did I do wrong? I get this all the time. I gained 2 pounds. I don't know what I did differently yesterday. I'm like, you probably didn't do anything differently yesterday. It's your body, like our body is going to fluctuate. Our body is, I mean, think about it. Every single day, you're putting things in your mouth. You're putting water in your mouth. You're putting food in your mouth. And every single day, you're moving throughout the day. There's a number of things that are going to affect that, whether you're a male or a female. But with females in particular, our hormones are something that we just don't have control over, and they are going to affect the scale a lot. And I forget who said this, but it's like, I saw it somewhere and it's like women really have one good week out of the entire month. Like we have one week where like hormones aren't affected, like nothing's going on and things feel really good. And if guys understood that, they might be a little bit more patient with us because the other 3 weeks kind of suck. I mean, we're dealing with something hormonally. And that's why it's so easy to get hyper focused on these fluctuations that we see, but there's so many things going on in our body that are causing those fluctuations. And even if you don't get your period anymore and you're dealing with maybe stubborn weight gain, I hope that today's episode will help you understand what's really going on and why hormones do impact the scale, and what really matters when it comes to scale weight. So, first and foremost, let's talk about the scale in general. Okay. So, whether you are like I should call it scale phobic or scale obsessed, you're not practicing healthy relationship with the scale. The scale really is a piece of metal, and it is going to be a measure of how much your body weighs at a moment in time. And that's all it is. And as I already mentioned, so many things are going to affect that. However, when you have goals or you're trying to make sure that you're maintaining goals or not gaining weight or whatever it might be, you you do want to be able to track your weight just like you would track your blood pressure, your blood sugar, anything else. And what you're looking for is average changes over time. And people, especially in a fat loss phase, are so hyper conditioned to look at the days and the weeks. And we really need to be looking at the month trends and the year trends. Like that's really what matters. In fact, if people can think back, if you can think back, if you're somebody that has put on weight, think back to when you gained weight. You didn't just wake up one day 15 or 20 pounds heavier. It likely happened gradually over the course of 6 to 12 months, maybe even 24 to 36 months. You don't know when it happened. It just started to slowly creep up. And it's the same thing that you guys have to be, well, that's what you guys have to be looking for is those changes. Now, when you're in a fat loss phase, you don't want it to be taking you 24 to 48 months. You want it to actually be a little bit quicker than that, obviously. But you're still looking at overall more around the monthly trends rather than the daily or the weekly trends. And I will say this, in a fat loss phase, I am a little bit more focused on the average weekly trends, but I also look at my clients' monthly trends as well. So I know when to expect those weight spikes and when to come down. And what I'm watching for each month is that those weight spikes come down as their weight trends go down. And that's really the overall goal. So I don't want you guys to think that you have to, like, I think a lot of people think that just don't weigh yourself. And I really don't agree with that because I think that scale avoidance can be just as bad as scale obsession. Because if you're avoiding the scale, you're basically telling yourself that this scale is like dictating something about my mood today or about my self-worth, and it shouldn't be. That's really what I want you guys to understand. And if you do have goals, you want to make sure you are making progress. You don't want to be putting in work and not knowing if you need to adjust things. So first and foremost, you have to understand that having a healthy relationship means with the scale means just having a non-biased opinion on what you see on there. Like it is what it is. It's just a data point. It's just like calculating anything else. Now, obviously, some numbers create more emotions, right? So we just have to understand that. Okay. So now when it comes to women's hormones, what you have to understand is I'm not going to go all into the intricacies of your cycle. Okay. But I am going to talk about the ovulation phase and the menstrual phase. All right. So, really quickly, when you guys are in ovulation phase, two hormones that we're going to see surge are LH and FSH, your luteinizing hormone and your follicle stimulating hormone. And these two hormones can actually trigger a weight retention response. So, we're going to see more fluid. You are going to experience this as feeling bloated and heavy, and maybe your skin just feels tighter. Your clothes around your midsection feel a little bit tighter. That's totally normal. And that's not you gaining fat. Okay. That is your body holding on to water. And I always love to give some kind of analogy to help you guys understand things. And just pretend you have a slice of bread. And now you've dumped it in a bowl of water, and it's now soaked up all that water. Okay. That bread is still 100 calories, 15 grams of carbs, or whatever it is, but it's now heavier in weight because you've added water to it. Think of that. Okay. So like you're not gaining any weight when you do that. Corey just jumped on. Corey, this is going to be a great topic for you. We're talking about women's hormones right now. Anyways, so basically you're holding on to that water weight. So you're going to feel a little heavier. Another analogy might be um, maybe you're in a rainstorm and your shoes get soaking wet. Your shoes are now heavier, but the shoe hasn't actually changed itself. It's just absorbed all of that water. And during ovulation, that's going to happen. Now, the same thing's going to happen as progesterone and estrogen surge and fall around your menstrual cycle, around your period. And so we're going to see a spike in weight then. And it's really important for you guys to understand that not every woman is going to experience huge spikes. Some women don't get any spike at all. Some get very big spikes. But the thing is that it's definitely going to be something that you're likely going to experience consistently. Now, what I will find is this. Women that do dial in their nutrition, especially like I hear this a lot, and it's not just me. I think it's anybody that actually starts to dial in their nutrition is they do find that their period symptoms, those weight fluctuations, the bloating, the discomfort goes down as they do start to develop a healthier diet, more macro balanced diet, more fiber, more whole foods, which is a good thing, right? So I want you guys to also think about that as I'm going to go into some strategies that you guys can utilize today. So I want you to recognize that those weight fluctuations around ovulation and around your menstrual cycle are totally normal. Okay, so that is not weight gain. That is weight fluctuations from water. And you're going to have to deal with that for the rest of your life or until obviously you no longer menstruate. Now, The other side of this does impact your body fat. And this is whether you are somebody that still gets your cycle or you are past menopause, you're already past that, you're already into menopause. I want you guys to understand also that there are some ways that the hormones do affect your weight, but not directly. Okay. So when it comes to hormones and fat gain, and I like to say fat gain because when we're gaining weight, or gaining fat, we're actually putting on adipose tissue. That is a process that takes time. The weight fluctuations are water. We're talking about fat here, fat accumulation. This typically happens because hormones trigger changes in our appetite and our movement. Okay, so around our period, we tend to get a lot of cravings, and that typically triggers us to crave high calorie dense foods. A lot of women crave chocolate and sweets or salty things like chips, whatever it is. They just crave these calorie dense foods. And we also don't feel as good. Okay, your mood's down, your energy's down, you don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to move fast, you don't want to do these things. So you start to burn less calories. And so you're eating more and you're burning less. Now, if you're not controlling your calorie intake over the course of a month, okay, like I'm talking longer than just a couple of days of you having a few extra mini Snickers or something like that. We're talking about the course of the month. If you're not controlling your calorie intake, you will start to accumulate body fat. And this also goes for those of you guys out there that have hormonal issues beyond menopause. You don't get your cycle anymore, and you're like, why am I gaining weight? It's because of these problems. Your hormones have now triggered other changes, and that's causing you to want to eat more and move less. And that's what's really causing the fat adaptation or the fat accumulation, is because you're not moving as much, you're eating more, you're creating a calorie surplus unintentionally. And women don't realize it, and it's really easy to focus on these day-to-day fluctuations rather than looking at the big picture, which is okay, what do I really need to be focusing on? And that's kind of what I want to go after today. Because I know, well, first off, I wanted to really make sure that we can talk logically about the scale, which is what I'm talking about right now. But secondly, it's really understanding how to get over this, I guess, this reactiveness to the scale and understand what you should be focusing on and not letting the scale dictate your actions. So that's my main goal of today. And that's what I'm going to get going into right now. So if you are struggling with figuring out, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. I don't know why I'm gaining weight. I'm stressed about the scale. Maybe you're somebody that always tends to start something and then you see the scale fluctuate and you fall off or whatever. You let the scale dictate everything. Here are some things that I want you guys to understand to overcome your battle with the scale and actually see progress on your fat loss journey. Or maybe your goal isn't fat loss. Maybe your goal is, I just want to be able to optimize for health. Because I know that not everybody has a fat loss goal. I know that some of you guys out there are just trying to get comfortable with loving your body the way it is, and you need to be feeding yourself enough to do that. Maybe you want quote unquote body recomposition. You don't care about the number on the scale, but you're trying to really make sure that you're, looking and feeling your best. Okay. So here's what we're doing. Number one is, I think that getting desensitized to the scale is important. So I think weighing yourself daily should become a thing. It's not about being hyper focused on the scale, but if you're somebody that struggles with seeing it, go ahead and desensitize yourself to it. Get on it, get used to it, just tell yourself it's just another number. What I typically have my clients do is weigh in daily or every other day, multiple times a week, because I'm looking for average weekly trends and again, monthly trends. So if your goal is fat loss, more data points is better. You'll take your 7-day average for week one compared to your 7-day average for week two. But now that we have that data, okay, we also want to be looking at tracking monthly trends. How is your month trending from January to February, from February to March? Are your trends going down? Can you see the same spikes in the same weeks? This is really going to help you understand what's going on with your body. And if you are losing, gaining, and maintaining weight. And, you know, disregarding or not even affecting the hormones is looking at changes in your life in that month that also could be impacting the scale. Did you go on vacation one week, or were you really off track one weekend with your food and things are kind of got dialed back in? So all of my clients have a graph where we can actually see this and I can show them these spikes and valleys because it is important to see that stuff. It's actually I've always worked better myself with like thinking logically. Okay, so I know I'm acting emotionally, but I need to see the logic behind this. And when I actually showcase this to my clients, like, okay, I get it. Thank you. So it feels better. The second thing that I want you guys to be more focused on is what does your daily nutrition intake look like? Okay. So people like to focus so much on the scale, but realize that the scale is out of your control. What can you control? You can control your nutrition, you can control your sleep, you can control your training, you can control those things that you're doing in your day, but you really have no control over what that number is going to show you in the morning. It's impossible to control that number unless you're controlling the variables that affect it. So instead of being so hyper focused on your daily weight fluctuations, let's be more hyper focused on our daily nutrient intake. And this is why I full heartedly believe that anybody looking to dial in their nutrition needs to start with a food diary. I don't care about you tracking macros or counting macros or anything else, but let's take a look at what your calories look like and also the types of foods that you're eating. Like, I want to see both. I want to see what kind of nutrients you're getting in. I want to see your calorie intake. And also identifying your nutrition habits. Are you somebody that doesn't eat breakfast and lunch, then you overeat later in the day? There's so many things you can learn about your daily nutrient intake, but relative to your cycle and your hormone fluctuations, if you're somebody that knows you get a ton of cravings around your period, well, first off, I want you to realize you typically do burn a little bit more calories around your period. So that's typically your body showing you like, hey, need a little bit more energy. So I sometimes will do some calorie cycling around my clients period because I know that they're likely going to utilize those calories. They might feel a little bit better in their workout if they have more energy. So but yeah, so if you're keeping a food diary and you're working towards a goal, you could actually build out a strategy where like, okay, I know that the week of my period, I really struggle on like the first couple of days. I'm not going to be hard on myself. I'm going to give myself a little bit more calories those 2 days and not stress about it. And really looking to fill those calories with some nutrient dense foods. But yeah, if you want a little bit of chocolate, guess what? Your plan should fit in a little bit of chocolate or whatever that is. So you want to make sure that you're tracking your daily nutrient intake so that we can learn. It's not forever. It's a learning experience so that now you can do this for life. Now you no longer are beating yourself up when you're like you can't say no because you're craving it. Now it's like this is just what I do around this time of my month and it works into my plan. So that's really really important. The next thing, and I kind of already talked about this a little bit, is staying consistent with your eating schedule most days. And this is all month. I think that a lot of people tend to randomly just eat throughout the day. And it's the worst thing for your hormones, especially when you're trying to control variables too. So I just think that keeping a pretty routine eating schedule, breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack, whatever it is going to keep your energy levels up and your body's going to start to learn when to expect nourishment. And that's going to make you feel better even around your cycle. And I know that sometimes you might be bloated and stuff like that, but trying to stay as consistent as you can with that eating, because likely when you eat your normal foods, you won't eat as much of the stuff that you're craving. And what I'm saying here is like, hey, maybe you have your lunch, but you're like, I really wanted a piece of that. So have a little bit of that. Like you're working that into the plan. Okay. So trying to keep a normalized eating schedule, I think is really important. That's why I also will tell my clients, go ahead and plan in a couple of things. Like if you know you crave sweets, like go ahead and plan in a little bit of dessert that night so that you can kind of ensure that you have it already planned in. Okay. The next thing that I want to talk about in terms of your cycle, which will really help you, is I mentioned how our cycle not only impacts your eating habits, but also your energy output. Typically people don't feel as good. By the way, ladies, there have been studies that show, and this is really important, that when you're premenstrual the week before your cycle, because your tendons and ligaments are a little bit more flexible, we are more prone to injury. So, and oftentimes, women start to get a little bit of back pain around their cycle, but just be more cautious of lifting the week before your period. However, on your period, believe it or not, even though you might feel like shit, we typically find that we're very strong because of the changes in our hormones. So, just something to think about with your training. Now, when it comes to training around your cycle, which there's all kinds of people going down that rabbit hole as well. And I'm going to keep this very basic because honestly, at this, you sitting there planning out your month, like, okay, I'm going to figure out when I'm going to train, but it just doesn't, it's just dumb. Just way too much, too much. But I want you to learn how to listen to your body and how to understand the changes that are going on in it. So, what I do recommend is week before your period, just being a little bit cautious of heavy lifting, dynamic movements that could put you at risk for injury. And if you're just not feeling great, especially if you're a CrossFitter, you don't have to go to that threshold place. You can do the workout at a lower intensity. You can lighten the weight. You can take it a little bit easier. You can choose to go for a walk. You can stay active, but don't stress yourself out so much. Because that's really important is that we're staying consistent with our training. Training actually will help improve your mood, improve your energy levels, keep you limber, but not if it's going to make you feel like shit because you can't like hit a time or a score or a weight, like just allow yourself to just move your body and not feel stressed about it. And that's really hard, I think, particularly for CrossFitters because we're so conditioned to like look at the scale. I'm sorry, look at the scale, look at the number on the boards or look at the numbers on the board and like want to compare ourselves or look at our past previous things. And I guess what I just had come to my head is I'm feeling a little bit of a correlation obsession with numbers with CrossFitters. It definitely is something that we all kind of fall into the rabbit hole of. In fact, even with macros, I see this as well. But anyways, so just make sure that you're tapering your training around your cycle to allow you to, still get your workout in, but not feel like shit about it. And the last one that I'm going to talk about is important, not just for your hormones, but for your overall goals as well. If you're looking to lose body fat, build muscle, perform better, fix your hormones, any of this stuff, guys, ladies, I keep saying guys, ladies, well, guys as well, you guys need to be eating enough food. You need to be eating enough. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're constantly restricting yourself, and you're not getting results, you're really not doing anything beneficial because you likely don't feel good. You likely feel like shit. And then you're probably binging because you feel like shit. And then you're having to restrict again. So you're getting nowhere and your weight's staying the same, anyways. And your hormones aren't being supported. So I really think that learning how to maximize your calorie intake and your food quality and your macros, all that stuff is going to give you the most power over your nutrition, over your body, over how you feel. It is the most empowering thing when you've spent your life focusing on restricting yourself, feeling guilty about eating, even feeling guilty about like having some chocolate or on your period, when all that stuff can be just put to rest by learning to eat enough food. And that is 100% going to help you guys more than anything. So, if you do not know how much you should be eating, and this is important, if you're not sure, where should I be starting? I'm using these online calculators. And you're not really sure. Maybe you're looking for some strategies to help you, be able to cycle things a little bit differently around your period because this is you. You run into this problem every time your period comes up. If you're looking to optimize your nutrition, and maybe you're not, maybe this isn't even cycle related, but you're like, yeah, that's me. I'm having a hard time staying consistent. And I use the scale as my only measure. Is I want you guys to reach out and I have the option for a free assessment. I will put the link to it in my show notes or you can just send me a message on Instagram or Facebook and I will do a free assessment for you and give you an idea of, hey, because you can go online, you can find an online calculator, but there are a lot of things that those online calculators don't tell you. They don't tell you, well, they don't factor in. They don't factor in your stress levels, your hormones, how balanced those hormones are, what that's going to do to your appetite and the food you crave, your lean body mass, the types of food you're consuming right now, your diet. They don't tell you any of those things to really determine how accurate those are. In fact, I've been on my gains train journey, and if I was to be following an online calculator, I'd be eating probably 1,000 calories less. So it's like, it's crazy. They just don't tell the whole story. So you want to make sure that you're getting an accurate idea of what your body needs. So if that's you, you want an assessment, Corey, also open to you as well. I know you're not a female, but anybody looking for an assessment, y'all can send me a message. And I will do a free assessment for you to give you an idea of, hey, here's where you're at. Here's where I think we should start. Here's what your goals are. This is about how long it will take and give you an idea of the factors that might be factoring into you not seeing results, and so that you can get better results. So that's my episode today. Sorry for the rough start. Let me know what you guys think about the quality of my microphone. Hopefully it sounds okay. And my next episode is going to be a gains train episode, and I'm super pumped for this week's episode. I cannot wait to fill you guys in on some amazing miracles that have been working in my life. So I'm excited for that. So, I love that you have a nutrition coach. Corey, I absolutely love that you have a nutrition coach. In fact, I should make a podcast episode on the benefits of having a nutrition coach. It is one of the most impactful things, having a coach in general, one of the most impactful things anybody can do in terms of getting results. So aside from just having accountability in your own household, which definitely helps as well. So that's it, guys. Have a great afternoon. I will talk to y'all soon. One more workout to go for my open goers this week. We've got 24.3, but love it. I'll talk to y'all soon.